My name's Elvin, and my research topic is incivility in nursing. Now, let's get started with an overview of incivility in nursing. It's when this occurs when there's an inappropriate behavior and communication that's disrupting the team. It's causing chaos within the nursing and employees. So that's pretty much what an overview of incivility in nursing. It's essentially like bullying, and just belittling and marginalizing your coworkers. And so, from the opposition standpoint, it's from their from this stance, nurses view it as like a byproduct of the stressful environment that nurses are already working under. So, because of that, high levels of stress and being put in those positions, it pretty much causes um, the incivility, and essentially that's what they're saying. Um, but that doesn't excuse the fact that everybody has to deal with high levels of stress. It doesn't um, excuse the fact that you can't disrespect, you can't belittle, you can't segregate or make someone feel small. And that's from my stance, that's how I view it. But a lot of senior nurses view it as in order for you to survive and become a great nurse, you got to learn and figure it out on your own. And I know this from experience because when I worked at my last job, I felt like a lot of the senior nurses feel like when they got hired, that's how they were told to do it. So they feel like the new nurses coming in have to do it the same way that they learned it from. I don't think that really helps because everybody has different ways of learning. Some people are slow, some people are fast learners, and there's people that can just learn on the fly, but there's people that are going to have they require a little certain time to pick up the pace. So common forms of incivility. You have verbal, nonverbal, passive aggressive, and you have sexual harassment. I won't really go into detail with sexual harassment because it's pretty self-explanatory. But when you get to verbal, you're dealing with people that are, making threats. They can be making sarcastic comments. They can be, words are powerful. They can really bring you down. Anybody just raising your voice at somebody while you're talking to a patient, making that nurse feel like she's not important or she's not good enough in front of a patient. So that's, verbal. You can be sarcastic. That would be considered verbal. And nonverbal would be like facial expressions, eye rolling. It could be excluding person. And then you got passive aggressiveness, which could be sabotaging, gossiping. Really try to paint this narrative like this one coworker is not a great teammate. She's not a great employee. She's not a good nurse. She doesn't do anything. She's lazy. You try to paint that picture so that other coworkers can view that person the same way that that they want the others to view. So that's that. And then how it impacts the morale. So I believe that with my stance on this, it has high consequences. I feel like it does affect nurses mentally and emotionally more so because of the fact that you're already dealing with a high stressful environment. You're dealing with a very high stressful job. Just to add to that, you got to deal with your patient first. That's your priority. You got to protect your license, so you got to do everything the right way. But if you have coworkers behind your back that are looking to get you in trouble, that adds a higher level of stress. Makes you a little more anxious to do things because you're scared to make mistakes. And I think that's why it does disrupt morale. And it could also be it can be an issue with communication because two coworkers not talking to each other, not seeing eye to eye, they may When they have to report, from shift change, they could be leaving out information that could disrupt patient care. So that has an impact on production and team morale. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, burnouts. That's another one. So burnouts can be an issue because you're already overwhelmed. You know, working bedside, I can say it can be very overwhelming, and you really just don't. You just want to be in good terms with your coworkers, because when you get a lot of help and support from them, it does make your job a lot easier. So I can understand that part right there. So impact work production. Um, Disrupts communication, and it can lead to medical errors. So yeah, we just went over that. And then increase patient readmission. Okay, so because of the lack of patient care, you know, maybe patients are not going to be viewing the, or they're not going to be retaining the education that they're learning from the nurses, and it more than likely might cause readmission where these patients are coming back because they're not getting the quality of care that they should be getting. And strategies to reduce incivility. So this starts at the leadership. It starts at the top, and I feel like with leadership and management, they should always implement and hold everybody accountable when it comes to upholding the policy and being professional. And I believe everybody should have a level of respect for each other, and how we respect our patients. It's the same way with our coworkers, and that's about that. Oh. And another thing with new nurses and with new graduates, a lot of my research was majority of it pertained to them because they see the most incivility, and I get it because of the lack of experience and their lack of knowledge because they're just fresh out of school. They're only gonna, they've only learned the basics, right? They don't really have the knowledge from the experience, because really that's where you really learn most of your nursing skills is from being on the floor. And so a lot of nursing students and new grads feel they experience the most incivility, and it's because there's a lack of support, and they feel as though their seniority nurses or their preceptors are judging them or demeaning or belittling them, and it makes them feel very anxious to run to them because they're scared of being judged, they're scared of being told they're not good, they're scared of the gossip that goes on behind their backs. And so it does affect them majority of the time, and it's demoralizing. It feels like they're not good enough, and it maybe makes them feel as though they're not good enough to do their job or be a nurse. So it makes them rethink about what they want to do. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, so this wraps it up for Incivility in Nursing. Thank you for your time.